Hello, you're listening to People, Pets, and Vets with Dr. Brad Miller and registered veterinary technician Angel Martin.
Hey guys.
Each week, we bring you current events and news in the veterinary industry and share our thoughts and perspective on how they impact us in our animal hospital. We also try to give you an insight and behind-the-scenes glance at our clinic and the people in it. This episode 47 is being brought to you by Georgia Veterinary Associates, a family of animal hospitals caring for your family pet in the metro Atlanta area.
Wow, additions. I like it.
Improvise. I don't say compromise, but improvise and added that in. So, kind of dreary weather from beautiful Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Yeah, it's like
Wet,
if it
cold,
snowed here, it looks like it's going to snow, but it doesn't snow here.
So I was outside this afternoon briefly, and to me the weather really felt like whenever you have a snow or a snowstorm and the snow kind of melts off and it's kind of cold.
Oh, gross,
but
yeah.
there's that, I don't know, that moisture in the air, so that's what it felt like to me. So,
Well, I recently got my windows tinted on my car,
Yeah.
and one of the things that the tint people said was that you need the sun to kind of heat up the glass to kind of cure that.
Yeah.
And I have been waiting on the sun to come out for days now. So
who are the quote-unquote tint people? Are these Native Americans?
Well, funny. No, it's called, the company's called Tint Pros.
And where are they at? Let's give them a plug.
Gainesville.
Okay.
Yep.
Do a good job?
They did a great job.
On
However, I'm like tentative to roll my window down because
Tentative.
Yeah, pick that up. Tentative to roll my windows down because there hasn't been any sun, and so like
Yeah,
I
it's
want
true.
like a one good day of like just sun beating on the car to
So just
feel
leave them up
super
until
great about it.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
it gets really hot. So,
Yeah.
cool. What kind? It's a new car, correct?
It is a new car.
What kind of new car did you get?
I got a new Cadillac.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it pink?
It's not a pink Cadillac. It's a black Cadillac.
Didn't Carrie Underwood sing a song about a black Cadillac? She did.
It was like a cheating song,
Yeah.
right? Where, yeah.
Funeral
Yeah.
and black Cadillac.
Basically,
showed up,
like
so-
her and the mistress roll up in their black Cadillacs at
Yeah.
the funeral of the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's not like that, though.
No, mine's not like, it's called Raven Black, I'm pretty sure. It's kind of charcoal-y looking. But yeah, I got a Cadillac CT6. It's
Wow.
probably one of the faster cars I've probably ever owned. Actually,
Cool.
it is the fastest car I've ever owned.
And yet it's a Cadillac, so you know the
Stigma. Yeah.
type.
I know what
stigma.
you've told me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like it. So
Okay,
I
well,
guess that's
cool.
really all that matters,
No, it's
right?
really sporty. I've obviously seen it, and it's really nice. I'm a little bit jealous, so congratulations.
Well,
So,
good. Thanks.
Also, on a personal note, I wanted to thank your mom
yes.
for giving us, mainly me,
Yes.
some
Constructive?
criticism. I was going to say critical, and I didn't know what to say after that. To slow down on the intro.
Yes. So let's kind of answer the question that she asked initially. Is the intro pre-recorded and we just blast it out, or do you record it every time?
No, we speak it out every time, even though it has historically been the same speed.
Yeah.
So I slowed down a little bit last week, a little bit more this week. So hopefully, I don't know, a little more listenable.
Well, because you listen.
Listenable. What is the word?
You listen to books on tape, right?
I do.
Audible, maybe?
And so I definitely speed them up.
I was going to say the same thing. So if you listen to a book on tape and you listen, 1.5 times or 2 times, whatever, if they're talking fast, there's no way you're going to
Yeah.
understand what they're talking about, especially if they don't enunciate and that kind of thing. So if for whatever reason someone's speeding us up, I don't know why they would. We're only 25 minutes these days, but if someone's speeding us up, then yeah, they have no clue what you're saying.
I like to listen to those books at 1 to 1.25 times speed, but I always go to 1.5 to 1.75 because I want to get through it. 2 times is just too fast for
Yeah,
me.
it's how can you even comprehend,
It's
right?
like I can't comprehend. You're right. I cannot focus. So
Yeah.
Also speaking to the intro, have you picked up on the 2 hardest words for me to enunciate?
Perspective.
No.
Okay.
So, all right,
Veterinary,
pause.
registered veterinary technician.
So-
but that's like a 3, and that's like a phrase.
So, veterinary, I think when I was young and thought I wanted to go into the veterinary field, I probably called it veterinary.
So
A lot of people in the industry, like who are not veterinarians, say veterinary,
yes.
but it is not. It is VETERINARY, veterinary.
Yes. They say it like it's veterinary, like the ER is not there, to your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of my pet peeves when
Yeah.
I'm sitting in on a lecture and there's someone up there talking about veterinary science.
Right, they're the expert,
and
right?
veterinary medicine. Yeah, it's veterinary.
So,
Kudos for that one. High
Yeah.
five.
bam.
Bam.
The other word, take a guess. I oftentimes either look at you when I say it or almost re-speak it.
I don't know. I would have
I'm
thought.
from West Texas. Our.
Oh, I was looking at big words.
O-U-R, I typically say like our. So I really have to say our,
Yeah.
not
So
our.
there's a girl on Facebook, and I won't name her, but it drives me nuts.
Is this the girl that had a problem with you saying if you breed puppies or don't understand the green puppy, why that you're ignorant?
Well, I didn't say if you breed puppies, you're ignorant.
What did you say?
I said basically like if you thought that this puppy was going to grow up and be green, you're ignorant.
But the reference was if you're a breeder when we had that conversation.
yeah.
And so a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people may get offended by that comment. And I do believe I said, well, that's maybe a bit of an overstatement.
Well, I did also correct myself during that podcast and say that maybe it wasn't just ignorance, maybe it was their surprise, and
Right.
that's why they wanted to show it. And then the news medias and things like that picked it up. So I guess I do want to apologize if people are offended by the word ignorant. However, the dictionary definition of ignorant is just to be
unaware.
uninformed.
Uninformed, unaware, not having the knowledge.
Right.
And
So it is not equal to stupid, and I think some people do equate those two words together, but truly I didn't use it in that manner.
Right. Totally agree. You are one of your strong qualities is you do speak your mind, and what you see is what you get. And so I would agree technically ignorant or ignorance is appropriate. But that's why we do these things, right? That's why we're trying to get out there and educate and pass along the news. So,
Okay, so enough beating me up. Can I tell you about the girl on Facebook?
yes,
Okay,
not
so
the
it's
girl
not
that-
this girl who
Okay.
air quoted ignorant as well. But there is a girl who I follow from high school, and rather than she types our R-A-R-E. So she types it like she says it, I guess, and maybe she's doing talk to text. I don't know, but it drives me up a wall because I have to like reread it because I read it literally. Like
She went to your high school, so she has your same.
yes and no.
What
Because
does that mean?
well, high school, you don't really learn all of those things in high school. You really learn it in like elementary school.
Was she from the same region you were from?
No, I grew up in Georgia, essentially. I went to elementary and middle school here, and I went to high school in Michigan. So this
Yeah.
person is it's a Michigander.
Michigander. Okay.
Anyways, she types her Facebook posts as she would say them. So to your point, being West Texas or country or whatnot, saying our as R, she types our as R. So I find myself sometimes getting super frustrated with her post because I have to reread it because it doesn't make sense to me at first. Like our flight was, and it's like,
But it's
our
R.
our flight was what? Our flight was late. Our flight, I'm like, I don't get it. So, anyways,
Yeah.
thank you for trying to over enunciate.
So
words
I will
like
tell you
our.
also a little insight to me. I am so far from perfect in so many ways, but I am super judgmental and picky and perfectionist about literature and speaking. And I know I'm slangy with my West Texas dialect, but I think if you're going to, I feel like we've talked about this. If you're going to write a letter, there's a way to write a letter properly. There's the opening, there's the conclusion, there's all the in between, the paragraphs, how you should start that paragraph and end that paragraph.
Wow.
And so I don't know why I'm so weird about that, but I totally get upset when people use the wrong words.
Do you indent your paragraphs? Do you double space after
recently
periods?
stopped doing. I definitely still double space after periods.
So, like things evolve, right? You're a bit aged.
Those rules,
and some things change.
Those rules should not change. There was nothing wrong.
Why
Why did we have to change the rules?
Okay, so weren't you and I talking about vowels? The whole A, E, I, O, U.
And sometimes
Y. Yeah.
But you said A, E, I. You said, do you know that Y is a vowel? And I'm like, no, it's not always a vowel. And you're like, oh, well, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y.
And W too.
And W too.
And you were like, what?
That's just a different way of looking at it. So we're talking nothing about veterinary medicine at this point.
All.
So let's continue talking nothing about veterinary medicine. The biggest news story of the week for me is that Mr. Peanut has died. You are aware because I mentioned
We've
this to you.
We've talked about this, but I'm just thinking that the fact that a animated, what is he? Spokesperson.
A spokesperson. I don't know if he's not a character. He's a cartoon.
Gets all of this recognition for dying, and he's never been alive.
Do you know how old he was when he died?
104.
104. I thought it was 107 when we were talking about it, but I looked it up. So,
I know. I looked into it. It's 104.
So we talked a little bit. We actually quizzed each other a little bit before.
For those people and those other generations maybe that might be listening, don't know who Mr. Peanut is. Can you introduce Mr. Peanut?
Mr. Peanut was, evidently, the spokesperson for Planters Peanuts.
Yeah.
And so over 100 years old.
He had a very distinctive look.
Very distinctive look. He had a top hat, a monocle. Mm-hmm. You know what a monocle is.
I do. It's a mono.
Yeah. And you thought it was in his left eye, but come to find out it was in his right eye where he wore it. And then I brought up the fact during our conversation that I was pretty sure he had a cane. Mm-hmm. And you said, so his cane must be in the right hand because his monocle's in the left. There's no way they could be on the same side. So actually the monocle is on the right side, and you were correct. The cane is on the right side, but you're incorrect in that they could not be on both on the same side.
He's so asymmetrical that way. You would think that you would have
Not every peanut is perfect.
Okay, but these are peanut accessories. Okay. And so maybe 104 years ago this was acceptable, but literally you don't wear your I don't know. You don't wear your purse and something on the same side. You would carry it on opposite sides to be symmetrical.
To stay balanced. You're the whole balance.
I think things have to be symmetric. And so
he or the people that created him evidently did not agree with you.
Well, so he died. And the public is aware of it today?
So I thought everything was going to come out at Super Bowl as a commercial.
Which is next weekend?
Which is next weekend. But today I found the video about him dying. Wesley Snipes and some other guy I don't even know were in the video, and I watched it about 30...
So it's like a funeral for this Peanut character?
No, this was how he died.
Oh.
So, maybe...
Wesley Snipes was in his video.
Yes. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I mean, just, oh my gosh. Who knows? Evidently, yeah. Anyway, we're going to leave that one alone. So... There's been jokes on the radio that I've heard. I assume the commercial would come out on how he died, but maybe they're pre-doing this so that they're going to show you who replaces him, or
stuff,
who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But
pretty slick marketing.
There were it's definitely great marketing. There were great little stories like, somebody said, "Oh, I bet it's going to be a closed can funeral." Haha. And then today I heard he's probably either going to be planted or roasted. So, the whole...
Meaning buried or cremated.
Buried or cremated. So,
funny.
Lots of folks are kind of chiming in. And so I just wanted to pass along my condolences to Mr. Peanut and the Planters family.
Yes. May he rest in
peace. May he rest in a can or the ground or wherever he is supposed to rest.
Funny. So you had a couple of articles. Let's jump into those.
Yeah, this is totally a non-veterinary podcast, but that's okay.
Sorry, folks.
I don't know. There was a few that caught my eye. The adorable pangolin is the most trafficked animal in the world. So, in the rainforest of Congo, Cameroon, and Central African Republic lives an elusive mammal who looks like a cross between an anteater, an armadillo, and a pine cone.
Interesting.
The pangolin. And because of poachers, the pangolin is the most trafficked animal on Earth.
What do they poach him for?
I have no idea.
Scales. What do they poach him for?
Evidently 25.6 tons of scales last year.
Yeah,
worth
crazy.
$76.5 million.
So I don't know what they're doing with the scales. Like if this is what like some of those whimsical chandeliers are made out of.
I don't know.
I mean, these have to be pretty decent sized scales, not a fish scale.
Maybe non-traditional medicine, Chinese herbal medicine, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. So... so do you know, because you're looking at the same story I'm looking at. So how many pangolins? 38,000 pangolins last year, 200 rhinos, and 1,000 tigers. So that's crazy. That's too many of all those, by the way.
That's a ton, yeah. And where did this stuff, this is what I would think people sell in the black market.
Selling on the black market for sure.
I don't even know where the black market is.
Yeah, I don't know.
So kind of sticking to the scaly creatures. So I saw it on Facebook, and we recently had some staff go down to Florida for the VMX conference.
Yep.
And I asked them, I'm like, hey, was it at least nice in Florida because it's been so stinking cold here? And they said no, it was like in the 50s. They went to Disney and it was wet and gross and cold. So I saw this news article and I thought it was kind of comical, but Dr. Miller, you said we talked about it before, but it's so cold in Florida that iguanas are basically falling out of the trees.
Yes. National Weather Service issues a falling iguana alert in Florida. We absolutely talked about that within our first
I remember us talking about the frogs.
The frogs in
taking
Florida
over.
that came out, and we definitely talked about this. So there's so many iguanas in Florida. There's also what was the snake we talked about recently that I have?
Ball python?
I never can remember that. Ball pythons.
You don't even
I have
know what
one.
kind of snake you have.
I have one. His name is Solomon. But yeah, it gets cold, so they're up in the trees, roosting, I guess, is what I would call it. They're hanging out, and when the temperature gets cold enough, they kind of, I guess since they're cold-blooded, they just...
Are they dying? Are they passing out?
No, they're not dying.
They just can't hold on?
They just can't hold on, and they kind of, quote-unquote, go to sleep, not in the bad way.
Their muscles get weak, or what? I don't know what happens.
I think they get lethargic, and their whole metabolism shuts down, and they just fall off the limb.
So it's kind of like hibernation?
Somewhat, but I bet it hurts when they hit the ground.
Oh, God, I bet.
And the recommendation is leave them alone.
How terrified would you be if you were walking and an iguana
hit
fell
you on
on
the
you?
head.
Oh my God.
I'd
Some of
freak
those
out.
are really big.
Yeah. You were talking earlier that when y'all were in Florida during some warm months, not Florida, Bahamas,
We went to the Bahamas, yeah.
that there were iguanas there that acted like, I don't know, wild rabid dogs or chickens or something.
No.
They would come up and try to
I
attack
equated
you.
them to like squirrels in the park, they just kind of walk up. They're not afraid of people. I mean, they scurry along and that kind of thing, but if you put something out to eat it, they would walk up to you and eat it. It's kind of like those squirrels in the park,
Yeah.
like you throw some seed and they come and right up to you and get it. It's super weird. So while we're talking still again kind of on weird animals, I thought it was interesting. So there's a proposition or a proposal that the DOT has made to limit service animals that are allowed to fly.
Yes. Dr. Hines was talking with me about that earlier today.
So the key term here is service animals, but they're trying to limit it. And so no longer will peacocks, mini horses, or get this, cats be allowed to travel on an airplane as a service animal. Only dogs.
So they're defining what a service animal is, and I'd know, I'm just talking off the top of my head here, but a service animal needs to help an owner of that animal provide a service, right? Mm-hmm. So pull the sheets off the bed, when the phone rings, alert you to that event. All of these things that people with disabilities.
There's like seizure
alerts. It's not necessarily someone who needs an emotional support animal, and I think that's where the abuse of the system has come in.
With emotional support,
and for sure. Again, Dr. Hines was relating a client that thought she needed this emotional support animal who was completely unsocialized and wanted tranquilizers and all these things to for the animal so it could go on the plane with her. That's not the way you do it. They have to be socialized. They do not need to be more of a hindrance than they are a help to that individual person. So
a lot of service and like true traditional service animals have gone through training in order to be able to provide that service.
I would say all of them have.
We've talked about this with like American Humane and some of the things that we saw when we went last October, which, by the way, a little plug for them. Nominations are now open for your 2020 American Humane Hero Vet and Hero Vet Nurse Awards.
So how do people go find that and vote?
You can just Google it, 2020 Hero Vet Nurse nomination or Hero Veterinarian.
Vet dog.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or you can nominate dogs, but technically the nurse and the vet are open right now.
Okay, cool.
But anyways, we saw some of the dogs there working, and these dogs are truly trained. And I'm certain that cats can be trained as well for some of these things. And so I was really surprised to see cats on the list.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense. They're not true service animals. I don't think. I've never heard or read or seen one in what we're talking about with what they should be able to do as a service animal.
I just thought that was interesting, and I think a lot of people will be kind of upset if that's the case. But to your point, yeah, I think this service has been somewhat abused by the emotional support.
Yeah, I would bet I was going to say stewardesses. That's not PC. The airline flight attendants are jumping for joy.
Oh, certainly. Could you imagine having a peacock on the plane with you?
Oh my gosh, and that happened. Peacock and a turkey, I remember.
And what would you do? I mean,
This is my emotional support turkey.
So peacocks and turkeys are birds, right? Avian.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, I'm just like trying to make sure that I'm all right on this. And so their excrement is like uric acid, just like other birds.
Yes.
So how gross if you're the steward person that has to take care of that. Like,
not, no.
I don't know. Dog poop is something, I guess maybe I'm a bit more accustomed to it, but that's one reason I don't have a bird in my house is just the amount of feces.
Yeah.
And kind of things like
that. The
other
other cool thing that Dr. Hines shared with me maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago is, I don't know if it's Delta or all airlines, they've come out with a standardized crate for your pet that has to go in cargo that's climate controlled. It dispenses water and food. You can program that in, and you basically just rent that for the trip.
That's interesting.
So they're trying to make it much safer for the pets and more consistent. I thought that was a great idea.
Giving a plug back to American Humane once again. So when we went to that thing in October in California, they flew all the dogs in through United Airlines, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And so they also have a program called Pet Safe. And so it's basically how to travel with your pet safely through that. So I wonder if they have been a part of that or if Delta's just kind of done this all on their own. Delta, on the side of things, they announced that they're going to give all of their employees like 2 months worth of salary as a bonus.
Yeah, you and I talked about this last week, I think.
No, we talked about the one
it was like
commercial company, the commercial real estate company.
It was like $2 billion in profit sharing they're giving back, but they made it equivalent to roughly 2 months' salary to every employee.
Yeah, that's crazy. Good
Kudos
for them.
The only issue I have with Delta is they went bankrupt about 15 to 20 years ago, and I had some of their stock. And it became worth nothing. They reorganized, and then they've taken off since. So that's really, they do a great job. So I don't know why I'm plugging Delta, because I'm still kind of irritated. I lost a little bit of money on them. But
can I tell one more story before you go into yours? And then we need to also talk about the word of the week.
Yes, word of the week, and then we need to sign off. So
Facebook, again, is kind of where I get a lot of my information. But recently, I saw this article come across through Facebook that this animal shelter in North Carolina was basically begging people to adopt this 19-year-old cat. And the highlighter, the line that kind of caught my eye was that they thought the cat was just sick. Turns out it's just a jerk. So they apparently have this like grumpy, mean
cat.
spitfire of a 19-year-old cat that they can't get adopted. And so they've literally like put pleas out, and they've made videos begging someone to take this cat for the rest of its life because it's just awful.
It's just a jerk.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's funny, but also kind of witty in a way.
Yeah, they're just being open and honest, and please, somebody help us is probably what they're thinking.
Funny.
Interesting case of the week, just real quickly, my most interesting case of the week was Brutus.
Okay.
Big bad Brutus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Brutus is how many weeks old? 10?
Somewhere around there, 11.
10-week-old golden doodle that weighs 12 pounds. Its name is Brutus.
Mm-hmm.
Brutus had an unfortunate accident to where he broke his, I can't remember, left or right? Left femur right below the greater trochanter, so very high up on his femur bone. And we were able to kind of get everything back reduced and realigned and put a really cool locking plate on it. And the next day after surgery, he was tootling around the clinic and just screaming for attention. So we may try to put a little video and or pictures of Brutus on our website and social media. But we need to kind of talk to his owner and make sure that he's going to be cool with that. I think he will be. So that was kind of the cool case of the week, which made us feel really good to get him back on his feet.
He truly, he walked. I watched him walk out of here and
get him back on his feet.
Get him back on his feet. Yeah. All four. He walked out of here perfect, and it's kind of one of the technicians, Natalie, actually said to me. She says it's kind of sad how well he's doing because I want the dog and the owners to realize like he still has a mending broken leg, but if his leg weren't shaved, you probably wouldn't know because he's walking so well. So good job, Dr. Miller.
That was a feel-good case. You came up with the word of the day, which is...
Word of the week?
Word of the week.
Yeah, week.
Urticaria.
Urticaria.
Not urticaria. Urticaria. So...
Can you spell it for us?
I can. Urticaria. I did bring up Dorland's Illustrated Medical Dictionary for this podcast, and I think I will have it here for future podcasts because I wanted the official definition of the word. We always talk about medical terminology is related back to Latin, and I don't think I knew this. Do you know what urtica means? Which is the root, urtica.
To rise?
Stinging nettle. There are these.
I still don't even know what that means.
Well, plants out weeds, if you will, nettles. There are these nettle weeds that have these very sharp needles on them, and they will stick you. So I'm assuming. Well, I don't know. I was going to say that's why they're called nettles, but no. And then ia is like a condition, I think. So define urticaria without looking at Dorland's Medical Dictionary.
Lay terms, I would say urticaria is basically hives.
Okay.
So raised, red, itchy welts on the skin.
I think that's a great explanation. Hives or wheals. Wheals, not like WHEELS, but WHEALS, which is the technical term for like a circular hive. Mm-hmm. Rash, if you will. So typically they're slightly raised, they're smooth. They can either be red or they can be paler than normal. Do you know what causes urticarial type lesions?
So in my opinion,
I just made that up, I think. Oh, no, I didn't.
Urticarial?
Urticarial means pertaining to, characterized by, or of the nature of urticaria.
Wow. Cool. So you asked me or if I knew what caused it. So in my opinion, and this is truly my opinion, but it is mostly related to like an allergy. So be it topical or systemic allergen.
So definitely you hit the nail on the head with the allergy comment. That's definitely what's going on with urticarial reactions. Typically, it's drug reactions or insect bites, I think, that we see.
I was going to say a drug eruption is basically also an allergy. Is that
It
classified
is.
as the same thing? A drug
It's
eruption?
different. My opinion, drug eruption is when you have these open sores, and that
Okay.
is due to like an allergic reaction to a specific drug you're given. But it can happen the same. The urticarial reactions can happen due to the same type of mechanism, but it's just a different end result. So
Yeah, so typically if we were to see it here in the hospital, we're going to see either insect bites like fleas or bee stings.
bee stings, yellow jackets, wasps. It's not uncommon for us to see a pet brought in and rush to the back and, oh my gosh, they're having an allergic reaction, and they have these, these wheals again, these raised lesions all
Interesting
over
that you
them.
call them wheals. I always call them welts. Or it's
Same
probably the
thing.
same thing.
Same thing, but wheals is really, I think, more
The
appropriate.
medical?
But hives is really that's the more common term for them. So how do we treat them? Registered
Steroids.
veterinary technician Angel Martin.
Steroids.
IV steroids, IV antihistamines,
Mm-hmm.
and typically that's it. And they pretty much always get better.
So sometimes like those insect stings, like the wasp and things that you were talking about, they also present with like facial swelling and that kind of thing. And
Yep.
so they can be, when it presents that way, can it be life-threatening?
Can be. Snake bites probably more so when they get bit on the face, but
Okay.
typically not.
Okay.
Typically not. And I also was going to go there with vaccine reactions. We typically don't see these skin lesions like that. We see vomiting, drop in blood pressure, and to your point, we do see facial swelling with that, especially reaction to lepto. So.
Sure.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot. We've talked about
have.
Mr. Peanut. We've talked about some completely non-veterinary stuff, which is always good. A little bit of that stuff at the end here. So if you don't mind, sign us out.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I do want to thank people for listening. I thought it was interesting today. So we had a marketing meeting with our new marketing crew, which is Jen Aho, which she's always been part of our marketing crew, and then
Yep.
Rhonda Martin, my little sister. And so Jen actually shared with us some of our stats from our podcast. One of the most impressive to me is that we, over the 2019 year, we started this in March, I guess, late February, early March. We had nearly 3,000 downloads of our podcast, which I thought was cool. I mean, 3,000 is pretty cool. So we'd love to hear from you guys. If you're truly listening, hit us up on our Instagram, contact the website. Or not the website, but contact us on Facebook if you want to hear something specific. We really would love to hear a little bit more from our listeners.
Yes, love the constructive criticism, Angel's mom.
Yes. All right, guys.
And also, Alan was in today, so shout out to him driving down the road, probably listening
Oh, yeah,
to us.
our Covetrus rep.
Yes, so we appreciate all your support.
He came in preaching, what was it, sialoadenectomy?
Yeah, sialoadenectomy. Hey, I think I might need a sialoadenectomy. So, anyway.
How funny. All right, guys. Check in next week as we discuss more in the news and in our industry. Follow us on Instagram at People, Pets, and Vets. Follow all of our clinics on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check out our blogs on our website at mygavet.com. And also, under the resources tab online, you can find our podcast or continue to get the podcast wherever you get them from. And remember, without people, pets are simply animals.
Bye, y'all.